Why do we need to manage time? Some people will tell you that it's because time is precious. There's not enough time to do everything we need to do in a day. Or that time is money. There is something a lot more important though. The fact is, we're all going to be gone one day, so our time is limited. And we have more choices and more flexibility in those choices than ever before in the history of humankind. Considering this, time management is the art of doing what really matters in your life. In this video, I will guide you through why bother with time management, how to time manage what matters, what process you can follow to manage your time, and tips for how to make the best out of the process. And as a bonus part, I will also explain to you how time management can make you live longer. Intrigued? Then listen up. My name is Greg Angelbert. I'm a life and personal finance coach. I share what I know about personal finance and coaching on a cup of coffee every week to help you build wealth and a life of personal agency. So why bother with managing your time? I won't get into physics or philosophical discussion about whether time exists or not. The bottom line is we perceive time, therefore it is a matter of existence for us. The key reason we should bother about time management is agency. Let me explain. When we complain about not having time, we effectively complain about the environment imposing constraints on us. We basically trick ourselves to believe that we cannot make a choice. And why is that? Because we are afraid that our choices will have certain consequences. So we prefer the status quo. But at the same time, we complain about the status quo. So you're left with a choice. Are you going to live with excuses and avoiding choices? Or are you going to go with sacrifices, which is taking choices and facing the consequences of it? Time management is the acceptance that you spend the time on the choices that you make in your life, that you have agency over those choices. Your agency over your life choices translate into managing what matters to you in your life. That is when you can ask yourself a key question and pause the video if you want to reflect upon that question. Who do you aspire to become in your life? It can be aspirations you take from people you respect or admire. It can be something that is deeply ingrained in you since childhood. This is who you aspire to be. And let's be careful about how we define what matters to our lives here. We sometimes fall in the trap of mixing up what are ambitions, which are life goals that we might have, with our aspiration, which is what we want to become as a person. For example, if you have an ambition of climbing Mount Everest, that's a goal, okay, with a result. It remains with the question of why do you want to do that? And you might be aspiring to be an athletic person, and that fits in your definition of being an athletic person. Or you might aspire to have a spiritual life, and the journey to Mount Everest is actually a spiritual journey for you. That's an aspiration. So always link your aspirations to your ambitions and vice versa. If you want to know more about aspiration, life purpose, life goal, check out the video here and here. And I will guide you through a way of discovering that for yourself. So time management is all about being effective in what you do and what really matters to you versus being very efficient in a lot of things that you're doing, which is doing a lot of things but not necessarily the one that matters to you. If you're liking this video so far, you know what to do, and don't forget to subscribe and also put notifications on if you want to hear more about topics like this. Also check out in the description, there are also videos from YouTubers who talk about the same topic. And there are a lot of good information out there that you can benefit from. How does time management look like in practice? You can use a simple process to make time management work for you. First, you need to be clear on what matters to you. What are your life priorities? Where you want to go? And for that, you also need to be short-term enough so you can actually make this very actionable. So ask yourself the following question. Considering what you aspire to be, what are the amazing things that could happen this year that bring you closer to who you aspire to be? And you don't need to have too many. I would say 3 to 5 max. And make sure that you link them to things that you need to change in your life, new habits to take, new steps to take in your life. And we have different style for planning. So you can be a top-down planner, which means that you're looking at your life purpose and your life goals. You're talking about your 2022 goals, then they translate into monthly goals, which you have with weekly actions eventually. Or you can be a surfer, a bottom-up planner. You're thinking about the things that you want to achieve within a year or in your life. And what you do is you actually look every week at the actions that you're taking every week that are going to bring you closer to those goals. Then as a second step, you look at your environment, both the internal environment and the external environment. Because your environment can trigger the best or the worst in you in terms of your time management. From an internal perspective, what are your limiting beliefs that prevent you from moving forward? Write them down. That will help silence them, and also seek help from people you trust. What are the resources that you have inside you that can help with your goals? Those are your strengths and taking water from the well of your core values, your passions. And then there are external triggers. How do you surround yourself with the best environment to make things happen? There are tips in the next section about this. What are the people and tools available to you to support your goals? Then it is time to prioritize your task, to decide what you're going to do. And you can also look at that like you're designing your time management process. Use the Eisenhower matrix to help you prioritize what you need to do first. You can see an example on the screen. Here the focus is on the important, not urgent box. Why? Because if you work on this, you're working on the structural, what usually gets the urgent, important box to calm down. Because the urgent, important box tends to have a lot of firefighting. This is where you are at a buffet. So you need to pick your plate and pick what you want to put in that plate. Everybody is different, so what works for me does not necessarily work for you. If you find it hard to begin with a task, then make sure that you break down tasks in 5 to 10 minute short moments that you can get on and get out quickly. Put some break time regularly so you can recharge. If you're in a moment of flow, you don't have to break. It's important to stay in that moment. Just make sure that you take significant rest after. Minimize interruptions in what you do, so build an environment around you that helps remove triggers for procrastination. So for instance, remove your cell phone, make sure you don't have too many tabs open on your computer if you're working on it so you're not attracted by something else, etc., etc. Deal with things in a bucket of similar tasks. That helps to be in a sense of flow, so you're not switching your mind between really completely different tasks. That's really hard to do for our brain. So try to put things which have a similar nature, a similar way of being delivered. Spend less time prioritizing tasks. You might be spending a lot of time just doing this, and the time you spend actually doing this is time you're not spending doing them. So just focus on doing the task. The more you say yes, the more you get overwhelmed by all the yeses and obligations that you have, and the more those yeses have less and less value to you. So for the yeses to matter, there can only be a few, which means that there need to be a lot of no's. Work on your hardest tasks first during the day. For most people, that's how it works. We have more energy, cognitive energy in the morning, creative energy in the morning. Use accountability system to keep you on track. It can be one person that's going to check on your progress every day. It can be a group of people who are interested in the same goal and you want to make sure that you're progressing on similar interests. Schedule everything that you intend to achieve in a week in your calendar, as what gets scheduled gets done. And get yourself a simple reminder at the beginning of the day of what are the 2 to 3 things which are really important for you to get done during the day. And finally, be gentle with yourself. Accept that you might not get done in a week or a day everything that you plan to do. As long as it's not 80% of what you plan that is not achieved, that's okay. If you aim for 20% of things which are going to move, that's okay. That gives you permission for changes. Here is a trick. When we do things that really matter to us, that really are bringing us a sense of flow, then time dilates. Our perception of time changes. During the moment, we feel like time has passed really quickly because we were in this sense of flow. We didn't see the time pass. At the same time, when we look back later, what we feel is that actually all those moments of flow add up to a really long period of time. We have the feelings that this time has been very well used and therefore it feels like it was really full. For instance, I left my corporate life 2.5 years ago, and during those 2.5 years, I have done a lot of things that are related to my life purpose and the direction I wanted to go into. I became a certified coach, I became a master coach, started to coach all kinds of people across many different disciplines. I started up 2 companies, and I'm reading a lot more now. I'm also spending 10 times the amount of time I was spending with my friends and family before. And all of those things are central to who I want to become today, tomorrow, and until the end of my life. And when I look back at the last 2.5 years, it feels like it passed quickly in some ways, and at the same time it feels that it was full of so much compared to the years before. So in a way, I'm feeling that I'm aging slower. All right, I hope this video helped you to put priorities on what really matters in your life and how time management can help you achieve what really matters in your life. And I'll see you next week for more coaching and personal finance on a cup of coffee.